the external help from SalesPlaybook. And that's important, an advice, since we in sales, we are focusing on one thing, selling, right? We are not here to establish systems and parameter systems.
Hi, Thomas. Thanks so much for sharing a few thoughts on how you build up sales at Cargoo. As you, I think you literally started at zero SaaS revenue, right? And then built it to a 7-figure weight pipeline. You implemented HubSpot as well. You built a team from scratch, not only for sales, but like for the commercial functions as such. Could you share a bit more about like what's Cargoo doing on like sales motion? Is it enterprise? Is it product led? Anything in between? And also, who are you from a background?
Perfect. Manuel, thanks a lot for having me. This is a great pleasure and an honor to be here on this call. Sure, let me tell you who Cargoo is. So we are a software company, a typical SaaS software company that's in the market for a couple of years, so to say. And what we are addressing is basically the ocean transportation business of large shippers when they move their product, in containers over the ocean from the origin to the destination. We developed a platform that allows multiple stakeholders to access and then actually, have a collaborative approach on the solution to manage the complete ocean transportation shipments. And perhaps from my background, before I jump into what we did achieve over the last years or over the last month, so to say, with Cargoo, I've been in the industry for about 15 to 20 years. Industry meaning software as a service, go-to-market specialist for companies that approach mostly Europe, American companies, doing the go-to-market for those companies, for those startups in different phases, and always related to supply chain management, international trade, or international logistics. And I joined Cargoo on the 1st of December 2023, and had actually the job to do a go-to-market with this company. The software has been developed over the last years. It has been proven as a solid software solution, but the go-to-market has not been kicked off yet at that time. So just an important messages as well. We are, such software that Cargoo sells is purely enterprise class software. This is just long sales cycle that you have to have, minimum 6 months, most of the time 12 months, sometimes there are even 18 months, very complex, international as well, because we're talking supply chain, we're talking transportation, logistics, and the nature of supply chain is also multiple stakeholders within a business. Yes. So not only transportation logistics, but it's procurement, it's supply chain, it's warehousing, it's transportation, etc., etc. So that adds complexity to the deal as well. And in the beginning of my journey with Cargoo, we had to establish 3 things: organization, processes, and systems, because nothing was available. The organization has been developed now over the last 6 months from 0 people or from 1 person like me to 7 people in our organization. And we cover basically really all those areas that you need to cover from a buyer's journey, which starts with the marketing, the creating awareness, etc., etc., and then goes into sales, business development, sales, and ends up with customer success of managing then your hopefully closed won businesses. So that organization has been set up in the last 6 months. And then the second piece is, of course, is processes, understanding what an enterprise software sales cycle looks like, including stakeholder management, including the right people at the right place, managing the expectation, doing qualification, going through a very disciplined process. Otherwise, you're not able to close the deal. And by the way, there is competition around in the market as well, which have, in case of Cargoo, are in the market for longer than we are. So we need to be very, very strict in doing that. So we implemented the sales process from the beginning, from the first touch points, actually with prospects, to the end when we hand over the customer into support, right? So that has been established as well. And then last but not least, the systems to support all that, because without systems, forget it, you can't manage your sales process, you can't manage your difficult or your challenging sales processes. And we are using HubSpot for that. We started also, so to say, from scratch with HubSpot. And this is an important message actually, we also look from a system perspective that we can cover those three areas: marketing, creating the awareness, seamless integrated into sales, and then seamless integrated into customer success. Very important again to follow the different processes, to follow the different steps in the sales process and in the sell as such. So that has been established as well in the last 6 months with the people that we onboarded in our organization, but also with external help from SalesPlaybook. And that's important, an advice, since we in sales, we are focusing on one thing: selling, right? We are not here to establish systems and parameter systems. We understand what we need, we understand what we need to do, and let's get the external expert in to set up the system that we can walk and run with our sales process.
Yes, and I think that's such an important message. I see this over and over again from founders, and they say like, hey, let me hire a head of sales, let me hire even an SDR out of university, let me hire a chief commercial officer, and that person is going to set up the system. I was responded as like, yes, that's like hiring an excellent pilot and expect that person to build a plane. So the pilot will be reasonable financial investment in terms of like seniority, and they're really good at what they do, but the pilot typically doesn't build the plane, right? And I think you've
Correct.
been like fairly adamant in a very positive way when we first met. Like you brought like a pretty specific process chart, and like that's what the buyer journey looks like. It's now on a PowerPoint slide. I don't want to have 5 to 10 people in my team doing whatever they do without being able to navigate it and understand what's going to happen. The longer the sales cycle lasts, right? Anyway,
Absolutely.
we have so many people like, let me first hire 5 sales reps and then care about system, and maybe one of the 5 people will deploy the system. What's your thought on that?
No, I think again, salesmen are here to sell, and the expertise that we as a senior salespeople bring into the organization is there. And you said it rightfully. We tell people what we need, and then I let others execute on the system. I cannot do that by myself, and honestly, I don't want. And I don't want my sales team to do it as well. So let them follow the process that we tell what the process is, but then set it up in the system, set up the organization. That's the job of the professionals that help with the system to do that, right?
Yes, exactly. And I think like it's also very meaningful what you did instead of setting up HubSpot yourself, instead of like managing this process, right? You mentioned, okay, look, I go to this conference in California, or I go to this Gartner conference in Barcelona. That's where I need to be to have like executive conversations and fill the pipeline to 7 figures. So
exactly.
I go in and define like workflows and dashboards and data quality gates in like HubSpot, or I go to the conference and meet the buyers of our software. And I mean, your deals are reasonably large, right? It's not like 5K day deal here or HubSpot set up there.
No. Look, and exactly this. Look, time is of the essence in the business that we are, right? In particular, when you are in a go-to-market phase, in a market that probably you're not one of the early ones in the market. So you have to do a lot of catch-up. And the catch-up of the sales team is, as you just said, be on events, be in executive roundtables, do whatever is necessary to spread the word that you guys are here, and then executive alignment with those people that you meet. And this needs to be run in parallel. And again, the sales team needs to do that. The sales is in the execution mode, and the systems and the processes that have been led by sales will be built up by other expert or externals. Absolutely a must. And at the end, the success shows it. We started with a very, very small pipeline, even non-existing. And at the moment, we are looking at, after 8 months, at 1.5 to 2 million weighted pipeline. And that's quite a success, given the fact that, again, we have sales cycles that go 12 months, they go to 18 months. And, have the ability at the moment to, the chance that we close 2 large deals with an ACV beyond 250,000 over a 3 years contract, which is beautiful, I must say,
yes,
which
absolutely.
is absolutely beautiful in that respect. And again, we would not be able to do that within 8 months without having a process in place, so external support helping us to get us the administrative stuff up and running, and then just sell and do a very disciplined and focused process in how we do our sales.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned weighted pipeline, right?
Mhm.
I'm still stunned by how many like go-to-market and revenue people out there, like founders, like who can blame them, never did it before, don't understand the word weighted. I was like, what do you mean by that? Can you really explain for like the newer go-to-market people out there, what do you mean by weighted and like why do you need a system for that?
Well, you need you need to understand you have your pipeline, the different stages, right? The stages of a pipeline is always done by weighted, and at the end, when you say a weighted pipeline, gives you an indication of what is the probability and of closing actually, or transform the pipeline into opportunities and deals. And of course, I can have a 10 million pipeline, but at the end, that's not the thing that pays your bills. At the end, what pays your bills is that what you can close. And with a weighted pipeline, it gives you an indication of what's actually really closable and what's the expectation to be closed. So when I say I have a weighted pipeline of 1.5 or 2 million, then the expectation is that I get in there. That's best case. Of course, you always have a slippage here and a slippage there, but it gives you also, the motivation to close, because at the end, we in sales, we want to earn money, and the more we can close, the better we earn money in that respect. So weighted
100%.
pipeline is a very, very important indicator, in particular when it comes to enterprise sales.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, that also personally, that's the weighted pipeline forecast is like my number one report I check on a not daily, but at least like 2 times a week basis to
Mhm.
see am I on track to hit my annual and my quarterly targets.
Exactly.
So everything else is just like smoke in terms of market
Exactly.
qualified leads and so on, as I see it. So Thomas, given what you just mentioned on the complexity also and like the really enterprise say go-to-market motion of Cargoo, who specifically would you recommend to have a conversation with SalesPlaybook?
Well, I think companies need to understand that we talk about complex sales processes here. And I think if you bring in SalesPlaybook, it's important that you explain the complexity of the process. It is important that you have discipline in executing your process, and really taking care of all those different sales stages that you have. And in the sales stages, you have the various tasks that need to be fulfilled before you move to the next sales level. And I think from a sales playbook perspective, at the end, they understand what a complex sales process is, and can help with putting that into HubSpot. As I said, let them do that. Don't do that by yourself. And therefore, then at the end, you create this, kind of really guidance through a complex sales cycle, and an opportunity, hopefully, then to a closing. So I think that's what I would recommend.
Yeah,
Make
thanks so
sense?
much. Makes a lot of sense. Thanks so much for sharing that. And anything else that you would like to share to any chief commercial officer out there in 2024 and to any founder out there?
Well, the way that I've been successful over the last 10, 15 years is always, I always say, focus and discipline. These are the two key messages that I can give to every chief commercial officer, but I think that's nothing new. You need to have a focus, a clear focus, what you want to achieve, being it a goal, a target based on ARR, based on whatever you have as a KPI, and then be disciplined. Be disciplined with the sales process. Have a team that is disciplined with the sales process. And we all know salespeople don't like to update any system, any CRM system, but there needs to be discipline to do that. And I think this is the key to success: focus and discipline.
100% agree. Thanks so much for sharing all these thoughts. Again,
Sure.
congratulations to building up the sales team to 7 people, building up 7-figure weighted pipeline, and doing that by also not doing all the groundwork of setting up the system yourself, but like doing what salespeople should do, go out there and sell.
Perfect.
Thanks so
Thanks a lot
much.
for having me, Manuel. Always a pleasure.